Welcome everyone to WWE SmackDown Watch Along. I'm Tom Colohue. I'm your host for this evening. We will be running through the return to Montreal of Sami Zayn, and there is so much good stuff also planned. We have Madcap Moss versus Gunter, first and foremost, a match that was considered for the chamber itself, but not, of course, in a chamber. And this will be our overflow. As usual, there is usually a championship match right before a big pay-per-view, just to wet the whistle a little bit. These are their pre-shows before, of course, Elimination Chamber tomorrow evening. We, of course, will have Roman Reigns trying to deal with the Sami Zayn and Jey Uso connection that happened backstage. Well, sort of out in the parking lot. Parking lots are dangerous places under Triple H. We have plenty of people jumping into the chat. Bailey on the Twitch side says, hello, Tom. Hope you've had a good day. Had a very good day, thank you, Bailey. Spider-Boss says, hello, Tom. Sean says, hello, Tom, as well. Wiggly says, Tom, where were you earlier? I was otherwise engaged. I did let people know that I would not be at, there would not be a spoiler warning today. On Monday, I didn't put anything out beyond that, but I know not everyone is able to keep up as much as they is able to keep up as much as others, for example, which makes some early difficulties with it. So I do apologise I didn't put out a proper message, but I was not having a spoiler warning earlier today. Sean also clarifies Ricochet and Braun versus the Legado del Fantasma is a pre-show dark match. Interesting to see that they went from a tag team championship to a pre-show dark match. Sean says, did you see the news going around about Kenny Omega? Yes, and it doesn't surprise me that WWE would claim interest. However, it's an absolute nothing piece of bait. Absolute nothing piece of bait. Because there's no evidence whatsoever that Kenny Omega is actually interested. But the idea is that someone in WWE says that at some point when his contract ends, randomly, whenever that might be, they might be able to get him to go to WWE. This is a maybe this will happen, and then maybe this will happen scenario. You know me, I don't like that sort of reporting. We also have plenty of people on the YouTube side, just in check starting with literally anything shiniest wizard, and we all like our wizards shiny, folks. Peter is here dropping some tables. We have Simon, we have Stuart, Ridley. Lauren is saying sending good vibes as Rampage wraps up. Venom says, hi Tom, how are you? Christine said, did you happen to see the Fight Forever segment from IGN's FanFest? It was very, very underwhelming. I have not yet, unfortunately. Christine, just as a side note, I know I haven't responded to your comments on two of my latest shorts. I am listening to you, and I am taking what you said into consideration. So all I'll say. Ultimately, I will make my own decision on it, but I am hearing you. Peter says, sad news about Triple J father. Double J's father, indeed, unfortunately. And I do respect Triple H and the WWE team, primarily Kevin Dunn leads moments like this, for showing that respect. Ross says, hope you had a good night. A little bit from column A, a little bit from column B. My mouth got stuck on that one so far, unfortunately. Joey says, hi Tom. Hello, Joe. Venom says, do you think one of the Usos interfere at the chamber, possibly Jey, turning on Sami or Roman? Yes, I think Jey interferes to make sure that Sami Zayn knows where he stands going forwards, and it's not next to Roman. Joey says, what are your thoughts on the Kenny Omega news? I just clarified that one, but all I will say is that the outlet reporting it has history of this style of reporting, whereby a big report comes out from somewhere else, people are talking, so suddenly they have more information, when in reality, once you've actually read the information, there isn't anything more. It's not more information. It's just guesswork and speculation masquerading as more information. But hey, if you want to pay your money. Christoph says, hi Tom. Sounds like both Jimmy and Jey will be allowed to go to Montreal tomorrow. Can you confirm? I cannot. I'm not aware of the legal system in the US as strongly as other people are. I've not been able to talk to legal sources regards this particular situation, so I'm unable to comment at this point in time. And honestly, I'm confident that other wrestling journalists should not be commenting on that one either. James says, do you think WWE can ever be overtaken by other companies in popularity and fame? Eventually, there will be a world without the WWE. That may be 1,000 years from now, but eventually there will be a world. So, yeah. Ken says, do you think Liv Morgan loses tonight? Because if she does, it makes her look very weak heading into the chamber. I'm not sure on that one. It's a good question and certainly could have a pretty major impact on things going forwards. But not really, because Liv Morgan's one of those who's going to get a lot of very positive attention no matter what. She absolutely is. And that will be our opening match tonight. Natalya is heading down to the ring as we speak. Spider-Boss says on Monday the Twitch side didn't have sound in the last minutes of the stream. Thank you, Spider-Boss. I did have some technical issues. I'm trying to address them. I have an internet upgrade impending, but I've also taken some steps to try and fix the situation in the meantime. We are having a few problems with it. Spider-Boss also says, what do you think about Bayley's booking? I think it depends where she goes next. If the whole plan is for Bayley to beat Becky Lynch and then go up against someone like Asuka, or in fact go up against someone like Rhea Ripley, then I'm interested. But if she loses to Becky Lynch, then I start to get concerned. At the same time, though, we were very concerned about Sami Zayn this time last year. We're not really concerned anymore, are we? What if tomorrow Jey Uso accidentally hits Sami, costing him the title match? Well, that would be a situation in which that happens. Venom says, if Jay sides with Sami, how do we get KO and Sami versus Usos at Mania for the tag titles? We work our way to it over the course of the next few weeks when they simply cannot trust each other. Roman basically stands as a shadow over them and they can't trust each other, but that's all, once again, hypotheticals. Joey says, did you see the rating AEW did this week? Is a troubling sign for TK? Yes, we've been talking about this one for a while. The ratings are simply not good for AEW right now. They have sunk dramatically, and when it comes to the signing of a new TV deal, Tony Khan may have to accept that he's going to get less money. The issue that they've got is that if they get less money, they will then start having to end contracts because they cannot afford, as we speak right now, they simply cannot afford the people that they have based on the income that they have. So I know the old adage is you've got to spend money to make money, but how much is too much? Traffic, how's it going, mate? Also with a yo-yo. Everyone's picking up the yo-yos lately. I remember when yo-yos were a thing, when I was in school. That was a long time ago. Peter says, I've been told by my mate who is no source at all that WWE are asking $9 billion. $9 billion. Wiggly, I'm not sure what game you're referring to. But I will say, you may want to check in with Horsey at some point. After all, he does live shows celebrating your team. Spider-Boss says, my favourite Liv Morgan match is her match with Sasha Banks. So what you're saying is your favourite Liv Morgan match is the one featuring your favourite wrestler. Sean says, do you think Asuka still would have won the Chamber if Becky or Bayley had gotten added? Yes, they were not going to be added. So it's one of those, like, do you think they'd still win the match if, for example, many years ago they still had, let's say, for example, Thunder Rosa was in the match. Wouldn't have changed anything. Let's say, for example, instead of it being in a chamber, it was in a soft play area featuring a lot of bouncing ball pits and Crash Holly style Houdini of hardcore elements. Still wouldn't have had an impact. Wiggly says Natalya doesn't get enough love. I agree. We'll wait and see if she gets some here, but honestly I think this is going to be a Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler showcase going into what will be at WrestleMania a tag team championship match. It's not a bad spot for Shotzi, of course. I think that needs celebrating. The big winner in this particular matchup is Shotzi. Natalya, Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey are all a cut above a lot of the other women's division outside of people, for example, such as Charlotte Flair, maybe Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. This is an opportunity here, and that's a pretty firm kick to the face there from Natalya. She's fighting dirty here. Christian says, if Fight Forever didn't get a rated M, how would that be a bad idea exactly? As GTA has an M rating and kids still play it / want it. I am debatable on this subject. I think a rating of mature sort of gives a game an unattainable status, which automatically makes people want it. So, I don't know. Venom says, imagine if they bring the chamber down tonight as like a tease. Is it above the ring? I don't think I spotted it above the ring, but I may not have been paying too much attention. After all, lot to talk about. Spider-Man says, Bayley has lost big matches recently. Her matches with Bianca and her recent loss against Becky, I hope, get better. I believe her booking will improve. Joey says, seems like desperation bringing Punk back to get the ratings up. CM Punk is under contract at AEW, and while he does want out, Tony Khan is not willing to pay him to get out. As such, once he's fit and firing, he is contractually obligated to wrestle or be in breach of contract. Traffic used to love yo-yos and finger skateboards. Wow, finger skateboards. Wiggly, it is Horsey City. He's in here sometimes. He goes under Horsey City forever. I should have known. Spider-Man says, sometimes I think Bayley doesn't get enough credit for what she has done for the women's division. There's a lot of women right now under Triple H who are not getting enough credit. And then he's pointing out. Joey says, sadly, I think the only ones that will give Vince $9 billion are the Saudis. I disagree on that one. After all, there's a lot of very, very rich people who are very, very interested in a company that is making billion-dollar profits year on year. You own this company for 20 years, you're already in a major profit. Hector says, not going to lie, I'm glad we get to see Shayna more, but I hate she comes out to Ronda's music. I've given a tag theme or let Shayna come out to her theme. Since she got rid of what was her theme, the Queen of Spades theme, which was a banger, she's not really come out to even the new theme because nobody really likes it anyway. I don't really like it, but I might just be jealous because, you know, it's good shit, alright? Ronda took a pretty firm hit there. Shotzi's now got Ronda in a submission move to essentially give her a chance to rest. And to give a referee the chance to actually ask her the question. Chances of an injury there. Shotzi and Ronda do not have the greatest chemistry. Maybe they shouldn't have let them wrestle again this quick. Christoph says, I believe Omega will stay loyal to AEW. As for Jay White and Ibushi, who would be better for WWE in your opinion? Jay White. No question, Jay White. Language barrier. Justin says, you can't wrestle chance at Ronda. Oh, no, that's not good. Okay, so the question I have is you make those chants at Ronda, Shotzi just landed real rough right in Ronda's face. Ronda Rousey is taking a beating out there. Not only that, but she's doing it without any sort of receipt. I don't think Ronda's the problem in this one. There's just a lack of chemistry between the two of them. I don't know what it is. They've just not got it. Sean says, if Tony wants ratings for AEW, then bring in big names like Goldberg, Rock, and Cena. Goldberg, maybe. Rock and John Cena is an absolute no. They're too loyal to the WWE. Venom says, do you think they'll bring the chamber down tonight? I'd like it to come down during a Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes promo. Eddie Gomez says, do you see Kenny Omega jumping ship? There are many, many years ahead of us in which Kenny Omega can and will wrestle. I can only speculate at this point in time. Venom says, Johnny was the only one from the US title chamber who wasn't featured on Raw. I hope they're not treating him as an afterthought. They're not. They're treating him as an underdog, and as such you're supposed to have spotted that he wasn't there. Joey says, I loved Shayna's old theme. The new one is too generic, and I do agree. Bailey says, on the other hand, Vince could declare that no one meets his price, he takes it private, and then has no oversight. Yeah, he's in complete control of the company. He can do that if he so chooses. After all, it makes him a lot of money. So I don't really know why he's selling. But his intention, as much as anything, is to take the big payout and then walk away, invest in something new. There are hints of what he may be investing in based on what other people close to him are investing in right now. Just to be clear, look at what George Barrios is doing. And so on. Spider-Boss says, recently Meltzer said Trish was scheduled to appear on this past Raw, but it was cancelled due to Dakota's injury. I repeat, this comes from Meltzer. It is certainly a strong possibility. There was some smoke behind the fire of Ronda Rousey, of Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch versus Damage Control. But I did mention in my match card predictions that Dakota Kai was injured and was not actively working, which could cause that match not to go ahead. Venom says, just curious about your video from earlier. What's going on with CM Punk, Tom? CM Punk is expected to return to AEW. He is going to be cleared relatively soon, and at current there has been no agreement in place that would get him to leave the company. He's not particularly happy with the situation, to my knowledge, but Tony Khan's intention basically is to say, get back to work, or you'll be in breach of contract and we won't have to pay you a penny. It is a negotiation standoff, and it's been very, very useful for Tony Khan in the past. Justin Stevens believes Shotzi is terrible and he stands by that. Christoph says the Ronda haters really suck. Salvador says, hi my friend, how are you doing today? Doing very well, Salvador, welcome to the show. Hector says, Tom, I'm wondering what are your thoughts on these reports about WWE interested in a free agent bigger than Jay White? Apologies for not knowing the source, but it's just an odd report. The source once again is Dave Meltzer, and I have to ask the question, what is Dave Meltzer's agenda in releasing this particular piece of information? Because that certainly is a possibility, but when you talk about bigger free agents, I don't think there are many bigger free agents than Jay White. I don't think Kota Ibushi qualifies for that. And Kenny Omega certainly is not a free agent. So you are then limited to Jon Moxley, who's not going to be a free agent for a long time, MJF, and Daniel Bryan. There's not many. Spider-Boss says, just as personal opinion, it wouldn't take that long to see conflicts in AEW once CM Punk returns. I agree. I completely agree. I've said it at the time. I said it when he was being signed. I said it beforehand when I said that there was contact. He's a flight risk. And here he is trying to fly. B-School Nick says, do you think we'll see Uncle Howdy tonight, Tom? I don't. After the lack of appearance last week, there have been a lot of vignettes recorded, but it seems like they may be ready for the build to WrestleMania instead. I was expecting one last week. We did not see one. Venom says, I really hope Johnny wins. Do you think there's much chance he wins the Chamber, Tom? Not at all, unfortunately. I think he'd be a good champion. I think there's lots of really good options, but he's not the one. And he says, if Disney or another buys WWE, I think AEW or another are in major trouble because if WWE wanted, they get it. Well, to be fair, what I will say is that under the current management system, the WWE are likely earning more money than Disney would create. However, what Disney would do is use WWE wrestlers in a variety of different ways. For example, Roman Reigns would get voice acting work and would be involved in a lot of different cartoons, like the Scooby-Doo cartoon that he was in way back when. Becky Lynch would get some acting roles. We would see them getting wrestlers over outside of wrestling in order to convince people to watch wrestling. So the crossover potential is pretty massive. After all, imagine Roman Reigns as a villain in a Black Panther movie. Just stop for a minute. Imagine that. Hey Steve, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Blue says, if Tony thinks CM Punk is going to be a solution to AEW's problems, he hasn't learned from his mistake. I don't think he actually intends for CM Punk to return. I just think he expects to say to CM Punk, either you do return, or we're done. Mercedes is not a free agent at the moment, Bailey. Not a free agent. Again, Ronda Rousey, another head bump. Let's have a look at this. That's well played. That's a good sell. That is the DDT spot that Ronda openly said that she screwed up previously. So that's Ronda essentially apologising. To be clear, Ronda Rousey asked for this match as a way to apologise to Shotzi for what she felt was a bad performance on Ronda's part. Ronda thought she performed badly, so she asked for this match as an apology. Justin says, I thought Wrestling Inc. broke the bigger free agent news. They did not. Raj Giri of Wrestling Inc. did report it, but he clearly stated that Dave Meltzer was the one who actually reported it. Traffic says, I love MJF as much as anyone, but I don't think he'd work in WWE. I wholeheartedly disagree. Simon says, Sasha Mercedes Mania running wild already. Read 4 or 5 interviews for Battle in the Valley, which I ordered earlier. Yeah, but it feels like that to you because you're in the bubble. If you're outside of the bubble, it doesn't feel like that at all. Christoph says, reporting WWE is lurking on a bigger free agent than Jay White without having a name to report is like an empty spoiler to me. It is. And here's the thing. At all times, I could report WWE interested in a really big free agent because they are. They're interested in all the big free agents. Natalya let go of that pin attempt far too early. Shayna Baszler a lazy kick out there. I think she could have done a bit better for Natalya. Sean says, Grayson Waller has been getting in Shawn Michaels' face recently and even got storyline suspension for it. Think it leads to a match between them? No. Spider-Boss says, if Roman appears in a Black Panther movie, I think Roman would make Wakanda acknowledge him. And Bailey says, if Megan was here, she would know this. When was the last time Natalya won a match on TV? You've got me. It was a while back. I think it was against Aaliyah in that brief feud. Venom wants Shayna to get her old music back. She will not be doing so. Joey says, do you think CM Punk returning will make Kenny Omega want to leave? At this point, no, because I just don't see him actually returning. Ronda Rousey is locked in the sharpshooter. Ronda Rousey has been getting beat up this entire match. This entire match, she's been getting beat up and she is selling strong. This is a very good opening match. Simon, Mercedes may have said that, but she is signed to a New Japan contract. She is not a free agent. She simply isn't. Stuart says, as regards the head bump, good sell, but it looked nasty in real time, which, to be honest, is even better a sell. Blue says, Ronda asking for this match to make it up to Shotzi is probably the coolest thing I've heard about her since she joined the WWE. This is a very different Ronda Rousey since her return. She is trying to get other people over. It's not working brilliantly, but she is trying. Hence the matches with Raquel Rodriguez, where she just gets beat up for a while. Justin wants CM Punk to return to WWE. Sadly, personally, I don't see it. Ronda Rousey's got Shotzi into the armbar. Shotzi's not tapping yet. She's not got it fully tied in. And there's the tap. There's the tap. In many ways, that is an escape for Ronda Rousey, which is a showing of respect for her opponents. Baszler and Ronda Rousey do not look like winners at the moment. Natalya and Shotzi don't look like winners either, but for the first match of the show, the opening 20 minutes, that is a good way to do it. And also, to be fair, is a good way to guarantee an early draw. If you stick Ronda Rousey right at the beginning, people are going to be watching. Spiderboss says Ronda gets an unnecessary amount of hatred by fans on social media. I agree. And Venom says, half of the women's chamber, such as Natalya, Nikki and Carmella, have no chance of winning. They could have put much better people in there, like Becky, Ronda and Bayley. That still does not guarantee that they would have more chance of winning. After all, we can see where Becky, Ronda and Bayley are all going for WrestleMania. They have their matches lined up already. Megan is here and Megan has the answer. Also, hi Megan. Says the Elimination Chamber qualifying Fatal 4-Way was her last victory, so quite recently actually. Her last singles win on TV was against Cora Jade in NXT last May. Oof, not even on the main roster. They are really hyping up the arrival of Sami Zayn and the fact that he will be appearing tonight. I'd imagine he will be involved. We are getting the backstory of Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. Part 1 will be up next after the break. They are focusing hard on Sami Zayn tonight, and I'm excited for that. Christoph says Ronda's road to WrestleMania has begun. It has. In many ways, it started with the addition of Shayna Baszler as her tag team partner, and hasn't ended since. So that was a really hot start. Lots of people in the chat, lots of questions asked. Thank you so much, everyone. The first 20 minutes or so have absolutely flown, and I've not even really had much time to talk about the actual show that we're watching, which I like. I like that because, you know, we're watching it, but we're also having a chat. You can see it, I can see it, and sometimes if the chat's a bit slower, if there's not too many people in, I'll talk about the wrestling because it makes it a bit easier. We can keep the chat rate up. But you guys are already keeping the chat rate up for me, and I just want to say a massive thanks to you. We've already got to a point where we've had 28 people in the chat at once, and higher when you factor in Twitch as well, which is amazing. So great start, everyone. Thank you very kindly. We do currently have 20 people in the YouTube side, but only the 11 likes. So if you've not yet done so, please remember to hit that thumbs up. Every little does help the growth of the channel and guarantees a higher possibility of growth when it comes to subscribers as well. We are still looking to grow in subscribers, of course, while having a good old time. What can I say? While having a good old time. We have had an interesting time of subscribers recently. It's been an interesting one. Difficult to really say what's going on in particular, but I seem to be stuck. For the last week or so, despite creating a lot of different content, I've actually gone down in subscribers, which is disappointing, but at the same time, not the worst thing in the world because you reach a certain level and subscribers aren't that big a deal. That said, if you can hit like, I'd be really appreciative. Hello Megan, how you doing? Like seriously, how are you doing? Sean says, I think a lot of the reason why Ronda gets hated is because of the things she said about WWE and professional wrestling in general. She has said things like that. That said, she also was in character when doing so, and I think I need to make that clear. There is a real confusion about this, but Ronda Rousey genuinely loves and respects wrestling. You can see from what she's done, but she also realizes that fans have not gotten behind her, so she's embraced that and made them hate her more. Good. Spiderbell says, I wonder where is Cora Jade? She hasn't been on TV lately. Bit of a redesign for a couple of people in NXT at the minute. Cora Jade may be one of them. Hector says, was that an Uncle Howdy appearance before they showed the bloodline in the chamber? I'm glad you said that because I thought I saw it but didn't trust myself. There was a brief little bit of interference there in the Bray Wyatt style. I'm glad you spotted that because I wasn't sure. Thank you for that confirmation. Venom says, Bianca really pissed me off stealing an opportunity from Becky and Bayley when we could have got a 7-woman chamber. Don't know why she cares. It's not like Bianca is in the chamber. Well, to be fair, Bianca was put in a match and told to win it, so she did. I don't think she stole an opportunity there. I think she was put in a match to win, and she did. Christoph says, thanks to you, Tom, for making it so fun. That's why I stay up for it. Thank you, Christoph. I appreciate that, mate. I try my best. And, you know, you've got your outlet that you're working on, and I try my best to check in with that as much as I can as well, and just give you a couple of hits every now and then. We all could afford to work together on this and do what we can and share what information we've got. And honestly, the more I can help people out and help build people up, the better for everyone involved. So if I can help you more, let me know. I mean, you send me messages on DM on Twitter all the time, so we have our little chats and stuff as well. Charlotte Flair will be the honorary race official for Daytona 500. Is that NASCAR? I don't know my races. Hello, Hanno. How you doing, mate? Greets to you too. Justin says, rumours say Becky, Trish and Lita versus Damage Control at Mania. If that's the case, then do Damage Control drop the titles? No. Rumours suggested that match for Elimination Chamber, but because of the Dakota Kai injury, it may not be happening. Now, they could possibly do that on a Raw, for example, but Becky versus Bayley is a plan for WrestleMania, with Dakota and Io versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and potentially Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez as well. There is, of course, 2 nights to the event, so they could do both. I just don't think they will. We are starting way back with the collapse of Sami Zayn, losing the Intercontinental Championship, losing to Johnny Knoxville. We are having the whole redemption story. They are turning this man into Daniel Bryan, whether they like it or not. Megan says, been having a time of it lately, first with joint issues to deal with, now the tail end of a chest infection, which has just been lovely. I had one of them myself. I feel your pain. Which slowly getting back into things. Even managed to stream the other night, which was nice. I'm glad you're getting back into it. We've missed you around here, Megan. We've missed you around here. You're a very important part of what we do here, and I'm very glad to have you back. I really do hope you're okay. And if you need anything, please do reach out. Blue says, I think a big issue for Ronda is that her reactions to the fans not getting behind her feels a lot like her reaction to when she first got knocked out in the UFC. Thin-skinned and bitter, which is what they're intending. Christian says, I'm not sure about the pay-per-view times. Do you think Elimination Chamber will overshadow New Japan's Battle in the Valley tomorrow? Oh, absolutely. Because WWE is a bigger company than New Japan. That is a clear fact. It will definitely be overshadowed. Definitely. That doesn't mean that New Japan can't improve, and it doesn't mean they can't build on the success that they've had. But they are not in the same field as WWE, not even close. And in many ways, they're not in the same field as AEW. WWE and AEW are both sports entertainment. You can tell with the characters and personalities that they have. When it comes to classical wrestling, as it were, New Japan's the one. Spider-Boss says, I love to see Mercedes Varnado and Becky succeed outside of WWE on Hollywood. To be fair, depending on who buys the company, they may be succeeding in WWE and Hollywood. Jermaine says, hi Tom. Hey Jermaine, how you doing? Joey says, I think the booking of Ronda is what makes fans not like her. Nobody wanted her to win the Rumble last year. Everyone wanted Sasha. Not everyone wanted Sasha. Just gotta make that distinction immediately. Not everyone did want Sasha. However, the plan was last year for Sasha to win the match and take on Charlotte Flair. That's something I reported first on Spoiler Warning, and which has been reported by a hell of a lot of other people in the months that followed. Venom says she just involved herself in Becky and Bayley's business. She's too irrelevant and has got nothing better to do. No, she was booked. She was booked to wrestle in a triple threat, mate. No way around that one. Jermaine says, actually, I like the women's tag match. It was a lot better than I thought it would be, and I guess that's saying something. I was impressed. I thought it was a good match. It was a solid match, a really enjoyable match, and really showed the distinction between Ronda Rousey as she was and Ronda Rousey as she now is. It's a lot like, I think it's under Triple H as much as anything, Braun Strowman as an example. Braun Strowman lost a lot more momentum, lost a lot more matches, and in many ways has sold a lot harder. Ronda Rousey is much the same. So we're at the end of our first half hour. Hit Row are in the ring. Now usually for SmackDown they add another draw segment in here. I don't think Hit Row are the ones. Venom says if Dakota is injured, why haven't they been made to vacate their titles? Dakota is injured. It's a minor injury. They believe she'll be back and cleared by Elimination Chamber. That does not look to be the case at this point in time. Though they haven't committed to that entirely, you might want to watch the pre-show at Elimination Chamber just to be certain as to what the plan is. Simon says, Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful Select didn't have any SmackDown scripts at all tonight. Yeah. It's worth pointing out that Hit Row may have angered Bray Wyatt here. It's worth pointing out that the WWE have been trying to flush out whoever's leaking that particular piece of information for a while now. Zero News has made it a lot easier for them. Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt, both in masks, have locked eyes with Hit Row. It looks like Hit Row are doing a job here tonight. Bray Wyatt has removed the mask. Uncle Howdy? Is Bo gonna show? A holy shit chant. Howdy is not removing the mask as of yet. B-Fab has run. She has fled. And Hit Row had just been tossed around. It's not often we get in-ring action from these two. But it looks like we have ourselves a tag team here in Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy. Bray has got something to say. He knows how to pander to a crowd, he really does. B-Fab still running. Maybe drag a shanty out of the ring. A thank you Bray chant. They picked the right people in Hit Row. What do you got to say, Bray? He's celebrating being in control again. Oh. Oh. Oh, okay. I was not expecting this. That is a serious statement and a serious pivot. Bray Wyatt looking like he wants either Bobby Lashley or Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. They've been trying to do Bray versus Brock Lesnar for about 7 years now. Oh, I suddenly have to pivot to Brock on that one. Sean says, I saw on Facebook that Bayley versus Lita is a plan for WrestleMania. I asked for the source and I got no response. Yeah, there is no source. That's not the plan. Christoph says, Montreal is ready to explode for Sami. That's going to be huge. Spider-Boss says, it's recently revealed the women that will appear on 2K23, Sasha and Naomi, won't appear there. Yeah, there was no plan for them to. They're not with the company anymore. Venom says, I got a feeling that this could turn into a triple threat. I wouldn't hate it. It's also not impossible that it turns into a tag team match. After all, we have an Uncle Howdy. Simon, I've not watched Young Rock, so I don't know what episode Becky is on. Jermaine says, what is WWE doing? Don't they know they're only turning Sami into Daniel Bryan? And they're going to force him into the main event at WrestleMania to make it a triple threat. They're not going to force him into the WrestleMania main event to make it a triple threat. That's not going to happen. They do have other plans for him. Venom says, thank God, Hit Row really getting on my nerves. Spider-Boss says, I think it's just me, but I think Hit Row is better with Swerve Strickland as leader of Hit Row. That was never the case on the main roster, but it certainly was on NXT. Simon says, Liv versus Asuka should be a banger. It should. Megan says, Bray and Howdy versus Hit Row was not something I had on the 2023 bingo card, so I'll give them points for originality. I certainly think they added quite a bit there. I certainly think they've added quite a bit. We talk about there being a mid-hour draw segment. Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy are usually part of that. They've made a statement. Also explains why he wasn't there last week. They've pivoted hard on that one. Spider-Boss says, recently on his podcast, Conan said he didn't like to see Takeshita do Eddie Guerrero's moves on AEW. Okay, I don't care about his opinion. Venom says, any update on Bray for Mania? I think he's just updated you himself. Traffic says, well, shit, I have no idea who's going to win. I'm going to say Bobby at this point because Bray Wyatt's a face and we're looking for a heel. But Brock, though. Brock. Joey says, are we getting Bray versus Brock at Mania? Venom says, Brock and Bobby versus Bray and Howdy, maybe. That would be a difficult one, but also not impossible. I'd really like to see the idea that the Hurt Business are getting back together. But then there's a Bray Wyatt And Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, their eyes meet across the ring and they realise that they need each other. They need to get closer to each other. And respect turns into love. Venom, I know you mean a triple threat with Sami. Sami Zayn will not be in a triple threat to WrestleMania. Joey says, are Bray and Uncle Howdy a team now? Seems so, yes. Venom says, I guess we're not getting Brock versus Bobby at Mania again, but if it's Bray versus Brock, then what do they do with Bobby? Good question. Very good question. It seems like there's a potential for a pivot here to, for example, Brock Lesnar versus Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley versus Bray Wyatt. Spider-Boss says, could we see Hurt Business get involved during Lashley versus Brock at Elimination Chamber? Yes, we absolutely could. But I think at this point, they're going to try and get involved just to keep Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy out. Which has a nice little subplot, doesn't it? Nice little subplot. Sean said, if it's Brock versus Bray Mania, how does Alexa fit in? She doesn't. Traffic says, do you see Bray coming out after their match tomorrow now then? Yeah. Yeah. I don't think they're going to react in any way, shape or form, because why would they? But during the match, they'll have to keep their eyes open. This just turned into a very good SmackDown so far. And yeah, that's that. I'm glad that spoiler didn't leak. I'm very glad that spoiler didn't leak. We currently have 26 viewers and 15 likes. Please do remember to hit like if you haven't already. It does help the growth of the channel in a massive way. And in many ways, so does the chat rate. So the more we chat, the bigger the channel gets as well. So please do consider just saying hi sometimes. Checking in, chatting away, seeing how you're doing. You're all doing absolutely fantastic at it so far, and I really do appreciate it. This is a packed chat, constantly chatting, and I'm having a great time. We've just reached 250 views and increasing, so thank you everyone for watching so far. Moxie says, Tom, who wins now between Brock versus Bobby? I think Bobby is the more likely still. Spider-Boss says, Brock saying he could only think of Lashley while he was going to bed with his wife was funny. It was. Brock's genuinely a funny man. Christoph says, are you going to watch Elimination Chamber live tomorrow? I will on WWE Network, then Sunday watching Mercedes versus Kyrie and Jay White versus Eddie Kingston on delay. Yes, I will be watching Elimination Chamber absolutely live. Why the hell not? It's the right call. I will be watching live, so I implore you all to check out my watch party. I do watch parties for every WWE pay-per-view, and we'll be doing 4 in a row for the Go Home SmackDown, Night 1 of WrestleMania, Night 2 of WrestleMania, and the WrestleMania Raw. Venom says, so Brock becomes US champ against Theory. Maybe. I don't know. Just a working theory. Carmelina says, I think that Jay will be at the Elimination Chamber. I agree. Dom says, don't forget to hit the like button or you'll have 3 words for you. Yes, I'm late. What's up, chat? And Tom. Welcome, Dom. How you doing, mate? It's the Tom and Dom show. Welcome back. Traffic says, it's going to be nice for you. It's got to be nice for you to be genuinely surprised of us. Yeah, I'm not the most well-informed person. I don't get the rundowns for Raw or SmackDown. If I did, I probably wouldn't watch it. As much as, you know, I've got a YouTube channel on this, I don't want it to feel like a job, because once it starts to feel like a job, everything you do is based on trying to hoodwink an audience and make more money, which that's not what I want to do. You know, that's not what I want to do. Joey says, that was definitely a twist I didn't see coming. I wonder if they had this secretly planned the whole time. Nope, this is a pivot. Madcap Moss and Emma are backstage having a bit of a love-in. Emma's entire character at the moment is basically, oh, he's so cute. Look at my boy. Justin says, what is going on with Alexa? They turn her heel and then disappeared again. Seems like they have no clue what to do with one of their biggest female stars. Kind of true, yeah. Kind of true. Spider-Boss says, a good Saturday for wrestling. Elimination Chamber first, then Battle at the Valley. And Moxie says, I won't be surprised to see Bray attack Bobby or Brock tomorrow. You shouldn't be, because, I mean, they've outright said that. Ariel Hawani is in the crowd, surrounded by people who've been carefully chosen to not swear. Ariel, by the way, is the new Sam Roberts, just so everyone's aware. Sean, once again, I am speculating. I want to be clear on this. speculating as to WrestleMania plans for Brock Lesnar, Cena versus Fury may still be the case. Will says, it's funny how you reported about CM Punk and now some people are reporting about Kenny Omega's contract. Funny how that plays out. One person is reporting about Kenny Omega's contract, and what they're reporting is his contract isn't ending anytime soon. It's really quite funny when they do that. Simon says, is Brock okay working with Bray like Rollins? Is not keen on it. Would Brock be open to put over Bray or not? Yes. Rollins was okay to put over Bray. Everyone's okay to put over Bray. If you get told to put over Bray Wyatt, you know what they do? They put over Bray Wyatt. Kristen says, Tom, do you happen to have any news on what's going on with Cain Velasquez currently? Nope. He still has the occasional meeting with WWE officials to try and see if he wants to come back and if he's going to be a bit more honest about the nature of a knee injury. So far, not so good. And Spider-Boss says, it was funny, the video of Dominic Mysterio and Rhea on Tuesday having dinner. The Banger Bros are coming down to fight the Viking Raiders. The Viking Bangers on full display at this point. The Viking Raiders are getting a build towards WrestleMania, but it doesn't look like they're going to feature on the actual show itself. Which is a shame, I feel. I do feel that's a shame. Justin says, watched Goddess Alexa win the first Women's Chamber the other day. Good old days, prime Alexa. I remember it fondly, the Twisted Bliss off the top rope, which Sasha Banks did not sell in any way, shape or form. Sean says if they have no plans for Alexa, have her go to NXT and work with some of the girls down there. Or give her a break. You could also just give her a break. Which is what they're doing. It's funny that fans spend years saying we need the wrestlers to stop working non-stop. And now that there's enough of a roster that people can have breaks, everyone's worried they're getting buried. Christoph says, judging by her comments on Twitter, I got the feeling Alexa may have asked this time off for whatever reasons, maybe personal. I did report previously that Alexa Bliss has requested some time off and it has been granted. Traffic says, wasn't Seth's complaint was that he wasn't dropping the belt to Wyatt at the Hell in a Cell match? He knew how everyone would react. His issue more than anything wasn't even that. He knew that the fans were already turning on him, and he fully chose to embrace it and become a heel afterwards. He chose that path. He pitched it to Vince directly, and Vince was like, yeah, it's a great idea. Let's go with that. There was no issue working with Bray Wyatt. A lot of people didn't enjoy working with Bray Wyatt afterwards, but if you get told to put over Bray Wyatt, you put over Bray Wyatt. Venom, once again, I have no idea when it comes to Cain Velasquez. He's not someone I particularly follow. Hector says, I know the match may not happen for a while, but I love that both Gunter and Cody continue to tease a potential match, whether that be on social media or through interview. It's a great way to keep the idea alive and fresh for the eventual bout. Sheamus and Ivar throwing some kicks and throwing them beef in the early moments. Gunter is teasing matches of a lot of people at the moment. We know about McIntyre, we know about Sheamus. Certainly he was teasing a match with Brock as well. And the Viking Raiders are basically getting beaten the hell out of immediately. Always a typical start. Spider-Boss says Seth Rollins recently said he doesn't want to see CM Punk back in WWE. He called CM Punk selfish. Yes, he did. I uploaded that as a short. That's one of the most beautiful things about this. I was on a coach at the time. I was on a coach travelling to a football match. And I saw on Twitter that particular information, that particular report was going out there. So I got permission, called it public domain, recorded it, took it on as a short, did really well. Spider-Boss says, I never get why Mercedes Sasha didn't get along in the past. They are the same person, mate. Simon says, Tom, it was 4 years ago today the Golden Role Models, Sasha Banks and Bayley, won the Elimination Chamber to be the first women's tag team in WWE history. There's been a lot of women's tag team champions since then. Hopefully they're able to rebuild the division a little bit, because since Sasha Banks left, it really hasn't felt like they care about those championships. Now says, I don't know, Tom, I'd be pretty interested in a Brock versus Bray feud. Me too. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. To be clear. But I don't necessarily see that one happening at this year's WrestleMania. John Plays, welcome, says, Tom, I'm on delay. Am I missing much yet, or is this a throwaway show? The opening tag match between Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Natalya and Shotzi was quite fun, bit intense, couple of big bumps that Ronda took to the face. There was a segment with Hit Row right on the middle of the first hour that you'll find very fun, because it was very fun. Outside of that, so far, not too much, but still, fun. Joey says, do you think we could see the YS6 versus the Hurt Business? Dominic says, hi Tom, do you see Gunter going after the world title? One day, yes. Simon says, are we still getting Gunter versus Drew versus Sheamus at Mania 39? I don't know what you mean by still getting. The WWE have not announced that we are getting that match at all. So you can't really say, are we still getting a match that hasn't been announced as happening? Venom says, do you know when Ciampa returns and how far off DIY we are? No and no. John says, Brock versus Lashley versus Gunter, triple threat at Mania sounds good to me for the IC title. More likely at the moment is Lashley versus Bray Wyatt now. Brock versus Austin Theory for me. And of course, Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus versus Gunter. Naz says there's a bit of lag. To be clear, guys, is anyone else seeing a bit of lag? Can I just ask, if you're watching on YouTube and you've got a moment, please drop in the chat whether or not you're seeing a bit of lag as well, if Nas is on his own on this one, or if it is a problem that I need to deal with. Justin says, basically Alexa will miss Mania again for the 4th time in 5 years. It's crazy how 0 of these times she was injured. She has requested time off. Joey says, does Sasha Banks and Alexa still have heat with each other? No. And Venom says, I'm guessing there's no chance of CM Punk coming back to WWE. It's not that there's no chance in hell. It's that there's a very, very small chance. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat and the very kind donation. Says, thanks, Tom. You're the best. Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure is my favourite show. Thank you very much, Jordan. We try our best to create compelling content over at Nick and Tom's. I'm really happy with what we're doing there, so I do appreciate that. Spider-Boss said, different people, and it was a personal issue to my knowledge, so I don't think we should get why. I don't think it's our business to get why. Hector says, Tom, what are your thoughts on Sarah Logan's re-debut as Valhalla? For me, it's been meh, unless they put the belts on Viking Raiders, which I don't see happening. She hasn't done anything. She hasn't made the Viking Raiders any more impressive. She hasn't wrestled. I don't understand why she was rehired. Venom says, there isn't enough Hurt Business members to go against the YS6. Well, you never know. They could add Baron Corbin. Traffic says, all good for me. Stuart says, fine here. Jordan Play says, no lag. Thank you, guys. Nas, with that in mind, I would suggest maybe refreshing. See if we can get something working there. Venom says, if we get Brock versus Theory, maybe Theory does drop the US title. I wouldn't mind Brock Lesnar as a US champion. I wouldn't. Absolutely not. I think that gets us closer to Brock versus Gunter myself. Spider-Boss says, I hope to see again the Killing Rumours segment here. Well, certainly I think that's a possibility. Maybe after Elimination Chamber we can look at that. I think WrestleMania is going to be a really telling one. A really telling one. It was only a couple of years ago, Fightful Selector reporting that Kevin Owens was going to do a big dive to behind the ring and they'd put a big mat down there, and it just never happened. Things like that, you know. I'm glad you enjoyed the rumour killing section. Sean says, there's rumours by the Observer that Carmelo Hayes will be called up and join the Hurt Business. There's always rumours that big name black wrestlers will join the Hurt Business. MVP himself reacts in a very interesting way to them. Very interesting way. Venom says, do you think Orton could return by SummerSlam? I've already released a video detailing exactly when I think Randy Orton is going to return and what he is going to be doing. It may be worth checking that one out, but I do give a time frame as to when I expect we will see Randy Orton back in play. Sheamus is now looking at Sarah Logan. There's nothing else to really discuss there. She's just looking at him. Nothing particularly special, you know? Difficult one. I don't know if she's supposed to trans people or wind people up or just be like full-on Diego Costa. She doesn't really do anything, but she is trying to evolve her gimmick. After all, she had some issues when she first debuted. Had some issues. Traffic says Triple H has been working on and doing a very good job of making the mid-card titles being valued again. Brock holding it would just make it even more prestigious. It would, and it would guarantee some pretty high-quality matches. Also, you never know. Maybe we get Brock versus Cena again. Justin says, a random prediction, but SummerSlam tag team prediction for me is Usos versus New Day versus RK Bro versus Owens, Zayn. I believe by SummerSlam they will have split the championships again. Dominic says, are you having a watch party tomorrow? Is Roman on SmackDown? Thank you. Yes, I'm doing a watch party tomorrow. Roman Reigns, I believe, Paul Heyman said last week that we're expecting to see a tribal chief. We were told that Jimmy Uso would be staying home, so I'm not sure on that one. Simon says, could we potentially see Liv and Raquel as future women's tag team champions in the future sometime? The future is vast and everything is on the table. Hector says, if WWE is legit high on Austin Theory, I think having him challenging Cody if he loses the US title to Brock would be a good start. To be fair, Austin Theory versus Big E when Big E was champion is something that happened and something that drew our attention. The crowd seemed very into Banger Bros versus Viking Raiders. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus consistently on the card, and this is a good way of making sure we're still paying attention. Honestly, if we're building towards Gunter versus Sheamus versus McIntyre, this is a very good way of doing it. It does help build the Viking Raiders by having them on TV regularly too. Been quite a few tag matches between these two so far, and honestly, they have delivered. The tag division is looking a lot better, even though we get a lot of tag matches now. Like, a lot of tag matches. Spider-Boss says, why did WWE change the gimmick of the Viking Raiders? They defeated the New Day clean before getting repackaged. Is this back when they were the Viking Experience? There's been a lot of repackages for the Viking Raiders. They're just trying to make them feel like a bigger deal. So far with very little luck. Justin says, Raquel stole Liv from Tegan. There are definitely suggestions, and I'm going to be really careful what I say here. But I think Megan may enjoy hearing this. There are definite suggestions that Liv can have her head turned by a big, beefy woman. For example, the tag team with Rhea Ripley, where most of the backstage section was Liv Morgan saying, yeah, I like this on your outfit, I like that, I like this, and looking up at her like, you know. Venom says that could happen with Mello joining her business, but I still think it's Mello beating Breaker. If it's not Mello, then who? Spider-Boss says, after watching the women's tag team titles since their return, I think WWE only cared about those titles when Mercedes was on WWE. And that's true, yes. I can state that for a fact. The WWE did not want women's tag team championships. They only created them to shut up Sasha Banks and Bayley. And Spider-Boss says, with all of these tag team matches, I think Teddy Long would be proud. Yeah, but who's going one-on-one with The Undertaker? That's the big question that we all need to answer. Who is going one-on-one with The Undertaker? Venom says, Theory isn't ready for the world title. Still needs to be built up a lot. He's not ready for the main event. I think that's true, but he can still wrestle against Cody. Like, wrestling against the world champion is not the same as being the world champion. Just want to be clear on that one. Christoph says, just my opinion here, neither Corbin or Carmelo need her business. One just wouldn't fit in the group. The other is already talented enough to fly on his own. Corbin would absolutely fit in the group. Absolutely he would. Just to be clear on that one, he would do very well there. And Joey said, I think a women's mid-card title would be better than the tag titles. At the moment, the women's tag titles are the mid-card title for the women's division. Sean says, maybe Dragon Lee defeats Bron Breakker. There's been no suggestion at all of that at this point in time. And Moxie says, maybe Sheamus, Seth or AJ Styles win the vacated Universal Championship, but I think it will most likely be Seth. Spider-Boss says, I think today Theory would go one-on-one with The Undertaker. Theory would be the guy. You've got to try and pick someone who is definitely going to be a little bit hated and who deserves to get really beat up. Because The Undertaker at the time was just a guy who beat up everybody. That was his whole thing. Venom says, not going to lie, the ad for the chamber sounds like an ad for farm animals. I definitely recognised a couple of screams from Liv Morgan there. I believe there were screams when Shayna Baszler was ultimately destroying her. Because I'm pretty sure that was the beginning of her singles push. So we are in the middle of our second match on SmackDown. We are almost at the end of the first hour. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus taking on the Viking Raiders. It's been a physical one so far, very hard hitting. They keep showing the Elimination Chamber above the ring. I'm not sure this is going to be our draw segment. I do think maybe a second Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns breakdown would be slotted into that spot. That said, of course, Drew McIntyre is proven to be draw segment material over the years. Unlikely that we'll see Braun Strowman. He's been a staple of SmackDown, but going into WrestleMania, he doesn't look like he's going to feature outside of the Battle Royal, so unlikely that we'll see him in the build. Spider-Boss says, if WWE doesn't want the women's tag team titles, why don't they just get rid of them and introduce a singles women's title? Because if they introduce a singles women's title, then that will be another championship that they don't want. Under Triple H, he would prefer the tag titles anyway. Sheamus with a knee drop. Not something you see much. Ivar seems to have a pretty bad graze underneath his left arm. I want to say graze, I think that's the right word. Looks hurt, I'll say that. Looks hurt. Moxie says the same. Add a... you don't want a secondary championship, you want to make the current championship secondary. Interesting. Hector says, Tom, do you remember those Bray versus Uncle Howdy at Mania rumours? Yeah, that didn't age too well. Yeah, I certainly was hearing that. I looked at the possibility. Oh, bad moment. I looked at the possibilities and I didn't really see an easy option for Bray Wyatt. Probably because it was going to end up being one of Bobby or Brock. So Uncle Howdy was sort of the only logical option. I think that's where those rumours came from. They're not rumours, they're guesses. Sean said, instead of getting rid of the women's tag titles, unify them with the NXT women's tag titles. Introducing the tag titles to NXT was one of the worst things they did. But with the roster we have at the moment, we shouldn't need to. You should still be able to have the characters that you have wrestling for the championships that you have. Venom says, I hope the chamber matches aren't rushed and they get a half hour at least. They will. It's the main reason we only have 5 matches so far. Do we have 5 or do we have 4? We have 5. It's one of the reasons we only have 5 matches so far. Joey says maybe the Viking experience will come back. A new evolution for Lacey Evans. She could be the Lacey experience. That'd be weird. James Kemple says, how are the wrestlers getting so much higher from the top rope than they used to years ago? They've tightened up the ropes, essentially. Back then, the ropes were basically just wires. So you had to have them loose, or you'd have a Mick Foley situation where you lost an ear. Nowadays, they're not. You can make them strong without making them so dangerous, so they can tighten the ropes up, and you can get more height. There's an exclusive for you. Spider-Boss is asking if there's a new name for the Banger Bros. There is not. They've just stopped calling them Banger Bros. Valhalla basically trying to distract Drew McIntyre there. Wade Barrett said she's one of the strangest creatures I've ever seen. I've seen the gobbledygooker, so let's not pretend that's a thing. She's now just screaming at ringside. I'm not behind this. Sheamus rescues Drew McIntyre, because let's be fair, Drew McIntyre was not going to get pinned. That's not something that's going to happen. Venom says they were so rushed last year. They were? They maybe not? I don't know. I think it was in Saudi Arabia, so I didn't watch it. Christoph says Bray just screwed our WrestleMania booking by challenging Bobby. Well, he didn't challenge Bobby. He challenged Bobby or Brock. And he didn't really challenge them. He just said, run. So it's real hard to tell. Real hard to tell. Joey says Drew and Sheamus should come down to the ring in a taxi. I don't possibly know what you mean. The Viking Raiders at this point are literally throwing everything they have at McIntyre, and he just keeps kicking out because he's Drew McIntyre, and that's what he does. Good reaction from Ivar in the eyes. Just to be shocked and surprised. Spider-Boss says, my favourite chamber match was the Women's Tag Team Chamber of 2019 and the chamber match that Cena won in 2016. I believe that one was the one featuring Carlito and Chris Masters. Again, Ivar with the reaction face there. And a Claymore, because to be fair, McIntyre doesn't sell, so why would he be hurt? And the Banger Bros win. Not only that, but unlike earlier when Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler did everything possible to pull over their opponents, Drew McIntyre just got to a point where he stopped selling and won the match. Traffic says, damn you, Tom, and here I was completely forgot about seeing Mick lose his ear. Oh, you saw that? I've never seen it, and I'm okay with it. Venom says, how long until AJ Styles is back? Exactly as long as it takes for them to write a new storyline for him. Blue says, I believe Mick's ear injury was also to do with the ring ropes being cable as opposed to normal ropes. Notice this difference recently with the Noah vs New Japan show where they used Noah's cable ropes. And Venom said the chamber isn't what it once was, with there being padding all over it. Yeah, but a lot of people are getting injured. Eventually you have to make a choice, really. Do you want everyone to get injured, or do you want no one to get injured? Because if you want no one to get injured, you need to pad things. Spider-Boss says, Drew has defeated everyone in WWE except Roman. Pretty much, yeah. And Roman's faced Drew more than anyone. More than anyone. We are at our draw segment, and it looks like we're about to see part 2. We are about to see part 2 of the Sami Zayn Roman Reigns story. Sean says, I see we're getting 2 Cena Undertaker matches in the showcase, and a Triple H John Cena match also. So we're going to get to play as a lot of legends, including RVD. Ah, yes. So we get the moment of betrayal. I did believe for a long time that it would be Sami turning on Roman rather than Roman turning on Sami. Because ultimately, the person you're making is a person who betrays. You don't make Sami Zayn by having him get beat up. You make Sami Zayn by having him take a stand. That's the face. That's how you get a Daniel Bryan. Roman Reigns, of course, has been cool heel for a while, and people weren't really booing him. Sami Zayn has done exactly what they wanted him to do, which is make Roman the bad guy against Cody Rhodes. Hector says, at first I thought it was just Drew not wanting to sell for Carrion, but man, him continuing to not sell is so odd. He has been told and clearly instructed, you are the guy. You put yourself first. And that's what he's doing. Sean says, a Triple H Cena match in the showcase is their match from Night of Champions. Spider-Boss says, in fact, Roman is 6-0 against Drew since they faced in 2019. And they faced plenty before 2019 as well. A couple of WrestleMania matches, let's be fair. A couple of WrestleMania matches. Venom is saying, as AJ Styles, is he still injured? Don't know. No update on it. Joey says, TK, Tony Khan just tweeted calling Ariel a fraud. Wonderful. Wonderful. Always so clear and level-headed, that Tony Khan. Venom says, I know but the chamber is supposed to be dangerous. That's the whole concept. Yeah. And that's also a problem. Peter enjoyed the match, said it was banging. If there's one thing we can rely on for Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, it's banging. Venom says, imagine if Sami comes out to his old music, but they might save that for tomorrow. People are really obsessed with his music, aren't they? To be fair, that is still his music. Christoph says, still can't believe that pop when Sami hit Roman with the chair. Legendary. It was, and it was very convincing backstage in WWE. The reason Sami has this match at Elimination Chamber is because of how well his storyline has been received. This main event pay-per-view match is his reward for all of the work that he's done over the past 12 months. Including, yes, Johnny Knoxville. As we are heading into our second hour, please do remember to hit the like button as you join the show. We currently have 31 viewers, but only the 19 likes. Every thumbs up makes a massive difference to the growth of the channel, as well as every comment that you leave in the chat. We are currently still at 2,139 subscribers. We've been there for a while. And we are still aiming for 5,000 by year end. It essentially means for the first 4 months, I'm aiming for an average of 5 new subscribers per day. And so far, I'm just under it. But by the end of the 4 months, I should be just over it. So it'll all balance out. It'll be a balance out. Venom says, how is it a reward if he's losing? This isn't really the... Wrestling isn't necessarily about winning all the big matches. It's sometimes just about having the big matches. You don't get over just by becoming the champion. Look at The Miz. Asuka's music has had a shake-up. I liked her previous theme, but I'm liking this one too. I like the zoom as well. But yeah, if it was a problem, if for example, he was going to lose either way, Venom, would you rather the match not happen? Like, genuine question here, because I know people have different opinions on this one. Would you rather him have the match and lose, or not have the match at all? So at the Royal Rumble, they just end the storyline, or he gets to finish the storyline. What would you prefer? Just Talk Wrestling. Welcome, mate. How you doing? Says things will pick up faster around WrestleMania. You're doing great. Thank you kindly, mate. Glad to see you. I hope you're doing well. Have you changed the branding of the Twitch channel again? I'd love to have a talk with you at some point about potentially launching your works a bit further as the wrestling field if possible, because I've got a lot of people here who really enjoy wrestling and really enjoy gaming, and certainly I think we could work something out and have a conversation about ways that I've had success with YouTube, for example, and see where it goes from there. I know I'm still lagging significantly behind you on Twitch, but I do think we could have a great conversation about it. I hope you're doing well, mate. Like, let me know. I hope you're doing well. I haven't dropped in for a Doom stream for a little while, but I do sometimes drop in and just sort of have it on in the background. It's fun hearing all the explosions. Lots of explosions. Hector says, Tom, what did you think of the Cody Sami promo on Raw? I think it was good, but I think it does also sort of suggest that Sami Zayn is very much the backup option at this point in time. Cody and Sami are working together. I've mentioned this on Spoiler Warning on Monday. They are working together to try and make sure they're both elevated. That's a good thing, but it's sort of getting there is difficult. Sean says, I wonder if Roman was having flashbacks to when Seth hit him with the chair when the Shield broke up. I promise you he was. He made the same face, mate. He made the same face. Spider-Boss says, what is your favourite wrestler from Canada? Bret Hart. Loved Bret Hart's work. I loved how he choreographed his matches, and I just loved the work that he did. We have a new subscriber on the YouTube side, and it is the entire 2 countries of Korea. Welcome, Korea. I'd imagine we're going to get a lot of viewership now, because 2 whole countries. Welcome, Korea. You will get a notification every time we go live with Spoiler Warning on Mondays and Fridays, our SmackDown watch parties, or our pay-per-view watch parties as well. Welcome to the show. Megan says, Roman's been on the receiving end of 2 iconic chair shots, Seth and Sami. The man just looks really good with a chair in his back. What can I say? What can I say? Moxie says, Tom, do you see AJ Styles the world champion again, and when in your opinion? I don't. I think he'll see out the rest of his contract and retire, and that'll be that. The way he sells means that his body is basically beaten up to within an inch of his life at all times. It's difficult. It's difficult. Ross says, TK has said there will be news on the 22nd of February episode of Dynamite. Must need a ratings hike. Saw via Inside the Ropes. Not sure of original source. Thank you, Ross, both for clarifying your sourcing for that. I really like I've laid that out. You've been very, very clear, and we do need that. And yeah, Tony Khan has this habit, and we've called it out a lot in these hauls. Tony Khan, when ratings are low, always has some massive surprise announcement. And honestly, it's been very disappointing for me quite often. Whatever is going on, it's been disappointing. Venom says he wants him to finish the storyline, but he's still losing. I get he doesn't need to win, but they've kind of put themselves in a sticky situation here. They have put themselves in a sticky situation, but they need to wrap it up with a bow. Even if it's not necessarily the match result that a lot of people want, it means that we won't get Cody if we get Sami, and a lot of people really want Cody. So I still think we can be happy with where Sami is. He's certainly a lot higher on the card than he was. And like Edge and Daniel Bryan, where it was supposed to be about Edge challenging Roman, but they told Daniel's story, made it all about Daniel Bryan. Yeah, Daniel Bryan did force his way into that, but a large part of that was that the fans were not behind Edge. Fans were turning on Edge in the feud with Roman Reigns. I remember talking about it on Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure. We just did not get behind Edge. And we waited, and we heard the fans start to do the same thing. Nobody was really getting behind Edge. So Daniel Bryan became necessary. Justin says, Jesus, Tony Khan, why do you tweet? Christoph says, Bret Hart was my childhood hero. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. Moxie says, Tom, who do you see winning the vacant Universal title? Well, first they'll need to vacate the Universal title. So, and Moxie says, I pray to God we get Bray versus Brock. One day I'm sure we will. As I say, they've been trying for a while. Since, I believe it was 2016, Roadblock, when we ended up getting Brock Lesnar versus Luke Harper instead because of an injury to Bray Wyatt. Rey Mysterio is being interviewed by Kayla Braxton. We're getting a look at Rey Mysterio backstage with Santos Escobar. A passing of the torch. Very much increasing the likelihood in my eyes that Rey Mysterio will not be in WWE for much longer. Also kind of a face move for Santos. They've been heels so far, but a showing of respect. A real genuine showing of respect, by the way. Ray asked for that segment. He's very telling. Hector says, Bobby has already responded to Bray on Twitter, calling him a creep, which is fair. I'd rather it be Brock because he could take the loss and it not matter, but Bray versus Bobby would be good too. Has interrupted the interview with Rey Mysterio. Karrion Kross, of course, has been beaten up by Rey Mysterio on several occasions. So where are we going with this? Kind of pointless. Sean says, do you see Bryan Danielson winning the 60-man Iron Man match, 60-minute Iron Man match against MJF? No. No. Daniel Bryan's not there to win championships. He's just not there to win championships. Karrion Kross is not getting his heat back the way he's expecting to. He's certainly involved. He's wrestling against big name people. But nothing he's doing in ring actually matters. I know, as I say, wrestling's not all about wins and losses. But there are extreme examples of people who you just stop believing in. Bray Wyatt used to have this. He'd only win like 30% of his matches. It was bad. Karrion Kross has had nothing in terms of good booking so far. He's lost all the time. All the time. We're approaching the end of the second third. We have Asuka in ring. Liv Morgan on the way down. Not a great response from the crowd. I expected a little more there. After this we have only one match left, that being Madcap Moss challenging Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. And of course we have Sami Zayn involved as well. So, I've got to say, SmackDown this week, a lot better than it was last week. Last week it was not good. It was not good, but this week is much better. Particularly with the possibility that we're going to see a Roman Reigns. Ross says, I remember seeing Bret versus Owen at a house show in Glasgow in '94. Pardon me. I was still young and didn't understand how good it was at the time. Bret was... How to describe it? Bret was a Van Gogh. I don't feel people fully respected the work that he was doing until he was no longer doing it. Carmella putting over Corey Graves there, which I like. Carmella is at ringside on commentary. They are continuing her rebuild. It'll take a little time, but they're not planning to put too much pressure on her. I don't see her winning the Chamber match, for example. Sean says, who is the backup option behind Asuka to win the Chamber? Of the options that they've got, I believe Carmella is the most likely. Asuka is going for a handshake with Liv Morgan. Does not take it. I should remind everyone of my previous report. Asuka is currently listed as a heel by the WWE. Asuka genuinely just took an elbow to the face. Asuka seems to be calling the match, which is interesting. I don't know if if Liv and Asuka have been told to call it in the ring, but Asuka's calling the match there. Like, that was very clear. Liv seems a bit rocked at the moment. Not sure what's going on. Raquel Rodriguez has walked down to ringside. Carmella has not really been talking smack. She said she's got a great big back, and that's good for her. Where's the issue? This could be a good match. Could be a good match. Instead, we're getting overbooked now. This is becoming a bit of a mess. We're not even looking in the ring. We're not even looking in the ring. I'm not liking this. Christoph says, Liv is ready for Asuka. Watch her. Maybe the camera could be told that. Venom says, Cross talks pathetic. The only thing that is pathetic is how irrelevant he is and how he's not getting on Mania. Have fun in the pre-show Battle Royal. Lewis says, thoughts on the HBK screwed Brett thing. A lot of people screwed Brett, including a referee, Vince McMahon, and yes, Shawn Michaels. Venom says, why Carmella and why not Raquel? Because Raquel already has plans for WrestleMania. They don't want to take Raquel away from the plans at WrestleMania, so Carmella would be the backup option. Asuka is just kicked out of Liv Morgan's finisher. That's not a good piece of... Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's very much become a thing over the last few years. Everyone's finisher is getting dragged through the mud. Jermaine says, WWE way to give the jobbers entrance to Asuka. They did not give the jobbers entrance to Asuka. Asuka got a full entrance before the commercial break. There was no jobbers entrance there. Dominic says, Asuka reminds me of old school Great Muta before your time, Tom. Look at Bastion Bugger. No thanks. I'm just going to not do that. Hope you understand. B-School Nick says, where do you see the list of heels and faces? You don't. They're internal lists. They're internal. And Sean says, did WWE not like the most beautiful woman character? Quite a lot of fans didn't, and that's the main reason that no. Thank you very much for subscribing on the YouTube side. Hossam, cool. It's very cool that you did so, and I appreciate that. That was a terrible pun, but it's the best I've got. I try and at least make something unique to each person who subscribes. If you got a name like Hassam Cool, then there's very easy ways to make that happen. Just say the word cool and expect people to like it. I'm not cool, I'm old, and not down with them kids. What can I say? Sean, I've not played Hogwarts Legacy. I'm not intending to either. I do not support J.K. Rowling or anything that she does. Hossam, you will get a notification every time we go live for our Monday and Friday news show, which is, spoiler warning, our SmackDown watch parties, which is what's happening right now, and of course our Elimination Chamber watch party as well. We do watch parties for every single WWE pay-per-view, and we will be doing 4 watch parties in a row for SmackDown before WrestleMania, WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2, and of course the Raw after WrestleMania. Hernell says, you don't look that old. I'm 34, mate. I'm 34, and you know what? I'm okay with it. I think I'm in the midst of a midlife crisis where I'm like, oh, I'm halfway done. I'll be dropping dead soon. I hope not. I really do. But, you know, we are where we are. I'm hoping that I can go full-time on YouTube by the time I'm 40. I hope so. I really do. So that I can do something more meaningful with my life than the full-time job I've got at the moment. But, you know, we do what we can. That was very real, and I do apologise for that. I really went in depth there. I let on more than I expected to. Lewis says, prediction on MJF versus Daniel Bryan for Revelation. An MJF win, largely due to nefarious means. I think Daniel Bryan will want to put MJF over, but he wants to put on a great wrestling match, and it will be. Venom says, that's not often kicking out of finishes on SmackDown or Raw. It's really not, and it's not a good spot for Liv Morgan. Jermaine says, typical WWE to turn a good match into a free ring. It's a free-for-all. Ross says, I hope they don't do the Battle Royal for WrestleMania on SmackDown. From what I'm hearing, and this may change based on the plan as they go, they're going to have 2-hour pre-shows for each night of WrestleMania. The Battle Royal will be one for each pre-show. Joey says, what was your favourite NXT takeover? The one that was main evented by Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas. That was just a really, really good match. And Venom says, Tom Party don't stop, it seems. I hope not. I want to live forever, what can I say? What can I say? Sean says we must not be getting a Hall of Fame this year unless they start announcing people for it after Chamber. I'm confident we'll still be getting a Hall of Fame. It's just a case that, you're right, they do need to hurry up on it and make some announcements. Raquel is at ringside cheerleading for Liv. She's got her back to Carmella and Nikki Cross. Carmella is still on commentary and talking. Meanwhile, Nikki Cross is just trying to distract Michael Cole for some reason. Nikki, of course, her character is, I'm crazy, and that's it. There is nothing else. That's her entire character. She's just crazy, which I've never really been a fan of, and I'm not happy that they've rolled back to it. We can do more. Megan says, I've gotten used to being 34, just in time for me to turn 35 next week. I turn 35 in July. We do birthday streams. I know, like, they're not exactly growth streams, but they're not streams for that. That's not what we care about when it comes to the birthday streams. We do our holiday streams, we do our birthday streams, and I really enjoy them. Liv Morgan is going strong style. Liv Morgan's going strong style and showing up for Asuka, and I like this. Because Asuka's just going to do it back. We're going to get vicious. I'm not ready to turn 35, but it's coming. We all get older. Michael Cole just threw some serious shade at Corey Graves. Carmella is essentially doing play-by-play here and showing off a little bit. And you know what? Fair enough. Show off. There is still a match going on, and Liv Morgan and Asuka are having to work really hard to keep the crowd focused here, because there's a lot going on outside. Nikki is trying to draw attention. Good sell by Asuka, taking the code breaker in a very different way. Liv Morgan tried to go for another Oblivion, did not work out for her. Good reversal. This is a good match. I've just spotted Natalya is here as well. I don't know what. Asuka into a submit. Oh, okay, this match is getting real good. You don't get bad matches out of Asuka. Oh, that's it. Tap. That finish came out of nowhere, which I also quite like. That was a quality match. I enjoyed that. Sean says, speaking of strong style, I hope we see him back on TV soon. And Moxie said, not gonna lie, they should stop making Nikki Cross crazy and just make her a badass. Doesn't seem likely at this point in time. Everyone's hitting big matches, big moves now. Michael Cole just saying, here goes Wild Nikki. Raquel looks like she'll get the last word. Ohana bomb, is that what you're calling it? Are we seeing a continuation of this tag team? Liv Morgan not going to be so trusting at the moment. Or is Raquel going to hit with the Ohana bomb again? Nope. That's not Oblivion, guys. That is a code breaker. We end with Liv Morgan and Asuka in the ring one more time. They are trying to show you that Liv Morgan should be considered a top contender. They did with the Royal Rumble. They're doing so now. They are trying to build Liv Morgan essentially as consistent second place. Now, admittedly, it's not great to be second place all the time because you're never first place. But in a wrestling field where there's like 10 different women, being second place is still a pretty good spot to be. Sean says, doesn't seem like Asuka is a heel. Give it time. Give it time. Peter says, fucking 51 here, got years on you. You do, but I'll catch up to you eventually. Okay, Ariel Hawani's in the crowd. Why are we putting this guy over? I don't understand. There must be a reason they're putting him over particularly. Must be a reason. Venom says, why don't they bring down the goddamn chamber? Well, because it's not a chamber match, mate. It's not a chamber match. Joey says, I miss the black and gold style of matches. Those are the best. I don't think we'll get it again in WWE. Probably not. And Venom says, when they were done in the Dome, they overused the cell a lot. Wish they would do that with Chamber. Don't get why. Christoph says, would it be bad for Asuka to put Liv over before she probably wins the chamber tomorrow? Yes, it would. Yes, it would. It would slow down Asuka's momentum. Instead, they could just give her win after win after win, after win after win after win. Peter, when I said Corey Graves, I said he threw shade at Corey Graves. He did. He said Carmella's better than her husband. Joey says, does it make you think back on your teen years? A little bit, yeah. Little bit, way back when. Christoph wanted Liv to win. Venom says, why keep showing close-up to the chamber and not bringing it down? Because it's not a chamber match. The chamber's not there to be used. The chamber's there to build anticipation. And the fact that you really want to see people in the chamber tells me that it's working. Sorry, Megan, who's from Montreal? I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Oh, Ariel Helwani, right. Of course. I was confused. Next up, immediately afterwards, we have Gunther with Imperium by his side defending against Madcap Moss. I would imagine Emma's going to come down to the ring as well, though she won't be involved in any way. Imperium seem like they're stepping back. Gunther, of course, is probably going to win this one clean. There's no reason not to. But it does further show how well they're doing with the Intercontinental Championship right now. I did see someone posting a thread of good things that Triple H has done. And what I do find interesting is that they were mentioning, for example, mid-card championships. Gunther, for example, who won the Intercontinental Championship under Vince McMahon. They were mentioning big storylines, like the Sami Zayn storyline, which Vince McMahon wrote. And it was an interesting read. Certainly a big moment for that particular tweeter, but not quite accurate in a lot of ways. As we head into our last half hour, we are currently at 748 views. Thank you kindly, everyone, for jumping in, saying hi, and just enjoying yourselves. Hope everyone's having fun. I will obviously always take suggestions for if there's anything else you guys would like to see in shows like this. To see if there's something in particular I may be missing. Speaking of, let's start a poll. We have a championship match coming up. I know we all have our expectations, but who leaves SmackDown as Intercontinental Champion? Gunther or Madcap Moss? There you go, there's something you can throw votes at. Venom wants Gunther versus Cross. We'll see how that one goes. I don't think Cross is worthy at this moment with his booking. And Joey says, I think the IC title has been the best booked championship under Triple H. I wholeheartedly agree. It has been, if you'll forgive the reference, banger after banger after banger. Banger after banger after banger. Thank you, by the way, to KJ, who did throw the Tony Khan tweet into Discord. I'm able to see it in Discord, whereas it takes a bit longer and a bit more system resource to go onto Twitter. If anyone has not yet done so, I would encourage people to jump into our Discord. I will send an invite link for anyone who does want to join and hasn't done so yet. We do talk shop there. There's quite a bit of news that comes out there before it comes out here. So I do suggest people check it out if they would like to join our Discord. Sean says, I wish a friend of mine would understand. Triple H wasn't behind Mandy's firing. I even told him you confront Triple H, didn't fire her. He is set on saying it's Triple H's fault. It's absolutely not Triple H's fault. I did report that Triple H and Shawn Michaels did not want to fire Mandy Rose. Shawn Michaels has confirmed that since. Triple H will not be mentioning it, but essentially it came down from on high. And that was that. On high, I'm of course referring to Nick Khan. A lot of people believe what they want to believe. I do have to point that one out. We are living in a world right now, of course, very much living in a world where you have to think about the amount of media that is out there just trying to say, hey, viewer, you're right. You're smarter than everyone. You're smarter than everyone. And you know what? Whatever you believe, I'm going to report exactly that. Because what I report is whatever you want me to report. Because then you're going to tell everyone to join my shows and join my streams. Have a think about the different wrestling reporters that you know and how many of them report things purely based on what they think the audience wants to know. Because there's quite a few. We have an Intercontinental Championship match, and then Sami Zayn will appear in front of the Montreal crowd. They are continuing to build up hype for it, and I'm continuing to be very excited for it. A bit of an issue with the feed there, it looks like. But we are through it now. Madcap Moss is ready to make his entrance. This is essentially a main event wrestling match. A good spot for Madcap Moss to be in. I can't see him particularly winning, and certainly looking at the poll, we have 12 votes, all of which say Gunter will be leaving as the Intercontinental Champion. But that doesn't change the fact that this is a good spot for Moss to be in, and a good opportunity for him to show what he can do. Emma also not coming down to the ring. Not coming down to the ring. Carmelina, welcome. Says Solo versus Gunter. Oh, that would be a fun one. That would be fun. Christoph says, who needs the IC title when you already have Emma? Madcap, apparently. He's going for it. Venom says it'd be good if Volta beats Honky Tonk Man's record. Who is the longest IC champ? Do you think this happens, Tom? Maybe. It depends on WrestleMania. I think he'll retain at WrestleMania and go on to break that record. That doesn't mean he's going to. That means I think he's going to. Venom says, I think a vid on AEW's upcoming TV deal on the CM Punk stuff would be a cool vid to make. True. Actually, I think that's a fair comment. I'll take a note of that one, actually. If you've not already seen it, Joey, check out the AEW financial analysis that's on this channel with Gleb. We break down exactly why AEW need a big TV deal in order, and for Fight Forever to do really well. Because otherwise, to be blunt, they ain't going to make it. Pretty big pop there for Gunter. Emma is actually staying ringside. But I've taken a note of that. I'll see if there's anything I haven't already reported on it. And Venom says, glad that happened with Break. It's made Mania unpredictable. It's added some interest. Peter says, straight in like Flint. Well, Discord. And Joey says, Madcap looks like a generic 2K character. He does, and unfortunately, there's a personality disconnect as well. We don't really know who he is, apart from the fact that he doesn't crack jokes anymore, and he's with Emma. Joey says, would you look at that? Moss has upgraded from generic creator wrestler trunks to personalised ones. Someone getting the credits to do an upgrade. He's got a bit of colour. That'll help him stand out. He's not a Gunter, but we're getting there. Venom says it's lagging, Tom. Is it lagging for anyone else, Venom? Thank you for letting me know. Is anyone else experiencing lag on the stream at the moment? Moxley says Karrion Kross versus Gunter has potential. And also suggests Solo versus John Moxley, a match unfortunately I don't think we're ever going to see. I mean, that's just going to be a two ships passing in the night moment. Welcome, Pete, to the Discord. I can see you in the wrestling chat saying hi. Welcome. We have at the moment 79 people in Discord. We're fairly simple, but you'll notice that the Discord is set up for the future plans for my streams. So you'll note that I have the wrestling section, which is our busiest section at the moment, because I have the wrestling channel. I also plan to have a gaming channel and a football channel in the near future, but I just need to get to a level whereby I can devote enough time to them. They will be different channels, so that wrestling stays on this particular section, and that we do different things elsewhere. But I am planning to dedicate as much time as I'm able to those particular areas. With football, I'll probably start with the big Champions League matches, doing watch parties there, and maybe do some transfer window coverage when things are getting late and we're just trying to keep up with a lot of different sources, just do like a transfer window special. At the moment, that's the plan. As regards gaming, I do need to upgrade my rig a little bit. Once I'm PS5 ready, because at the minute I'm still PS4, I'll be able to put more into that. But growth isn't easy. Growth isn't easy. So we'll do what we can with that one. And obviously, while I have a full-time job, it's just more beneficial to do overtime there instead. Also, I'm parenting at the moment, so it's not easy. It's not easy. A lot on my plate. That is a long-term plan. So if you're interested in more than just wrestling, shout out in the YouTube. In fact, let's do this as a minute. Let's do a bit of a straw poll. Comment in the chat if you're interested in just wrestling, or wrestling and gaming, wrestling and football, or any combination thereof. Because ultimately, what I'll need if I'm launching these is to encourage people here to come over to those sections and just help me grow in that way and give me a real head of steam from the off. Because if you're not interested in it, by all means, don't come over. That's absolutely fine. But if you are interested, it'll give me a hell of a boost going forwards. Thank you very much for subscribing on the YouTube side. AEW Williams, Pedro Divide, Omega Mundo, Leon. Wow, that's a name. That is a name, mate. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much for subscribing. We will be giving you notifications every time we go live for Spoiler Warning, which is our Monday and Friday news shows. We will also be getting notifications for our SmackDown watch parties and our WWE pay-per-view watch parties. I've just been mentioning, as regards to AEW, potentially doing another financial analysis, but there is a financial analysis on this YouTube channel of AEW's current situation and why they need a big TV deal so badly, which of course could be a problem given that at the moment their ratings are going down. So you may want to check that one out if you're an AEW fan. Welcome to the show. Sean says, did you see that Buddy Matthews won his second RCW World Championship? I did not. Congratulations, Buddy. Joey says, as regards lag, works fine for me. Carmelina says no lag. Ross says no lag. And Joey says no lag on my end. Thank you, everybody, for the clarification there. Venom, if you're able to refresh, that might be a help for you. And Ross says the AEW financial analysis is a fantastic watch if you haven't seen it. In fact, let's actually just go get a link to it. Let's go get a link to it because I keep talking about it, and it is some of the best work I feel I've done as regards to standard journalism. And it continues to be relevant today. There it is. It's still, at this point, only had 137 views, and it's only got 10 likes. It was 10 months ago, and if you guys are able to check it out, please do so. I do think it's very good content, and I do believe that if you do watch it, you'll learn quite a bit. So please do check it out. Christoph said, judging by the feedback, I can assure you when I report Corbin's been discussed for her business, it was not what the people wanted to see. Yeah, I don't report what people want to see. I report what's actually happening. It adds some additional unpopularity on my side, but that is the job. Unfortunately, when you're an outlet like yourself, there are going to be moments when you have to give them bad news. Dominic says, I remember many classics with Mr. Perfect and Bret Hart and Kerry Von Erich for the Intercontinental Championship. Peter says, all stuff is good for me. Ross also says, all free for me, Tom. Venom says, wrestling and gaming. Thank you very much, guys, for clarifying on that one. Bismo, welcome. Says, it's amazing how good shape Gunter got into. To be fair, it's very much the thing in WWE. You work out, you wrestle, you travel. You work out, you wrestle, you travel. That is your daily schedule. Joey says, I think gaming would be fun to watch. Don't really care for football since I'm American. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Justin says, gaming and wrestling. Americans love football, not so much soccer. Fair enough, mate. Absolutely. Stuart says, watch content from all three genres, so I'd give you a follow on them all. Thank you, Stuart. I appreciate that. It's one of those, much as anything else, I want to create content that people are going to care about and that people are going to enjoy. So if we've got plenty of people who are interested in certain types of content, then I want to do more of that. When I launched the gaming channel, we've got maybe 20 subscribers at most, all of which have come over. And when I did the live shows, people weren't that interested in them. And that's okay. That's absolutely fine. We were just growing. We were just trying to work ourselves out. And YouTube was also still learning what we were doing. What I intend to do, and I'm still intending to do, is break down those live streams into actual videos. But the quality of the recording isn't the highest. It's not the highest. So I do need to make some upgrades and then work things out from there. But bit by bit, I am getting there, and I will continue to get there. Venom says, I've been playing 2K22 for ages. Cannot figure out how to unlock the 2017 version of Chamber. If anyone knows this, please let me know. You should also probably ask in the gaming section on the Discord, Venom, just in case. Christoph says, wrestling and football for me, no doubt. Joey says, are we looking at another WCW situation with AEW declining? And Joey says, Gunter is really over with the Canadian crowd. Gunter seems to be over in general, to be fair. He's one of those that just, oh, that was a chop and off. Just really fits the bill of what people want to watch. And yeah, as regards AEW and WCW, I don't think we're there because Tony Khan's funds are essentially limitless. But I do think there will eventually be a moment, and I said this in the financial analysis, I do think there will be a moment at which there just isn't any money left to commit. And it's not as in they're bankrupting themselves, but as in Tony Khan and Shad Khan decide, I can't keep funding something that's losing this much money. Okay, so Oblivion had its first kick out on this SmackDown. Madcap Moss's finisher just had its first kick out as well. Starting to think this is not a wonderful thing. Ross says, assuming you'll do an in-depth WWE sale video once complete, Tom. Yes, I will, Ross. And in fact, that's actually a note I need to take. That's something I've been putting together for the member side. Because there is a lot of speculation in it, and you guys know I want to be very careful when it comes to reporting speculation, but it is an interesting topic. It is an interesting topic that I do think we need to be asking questions and talking about. So while I don't want to speculate on Maine, I don't want to put information out there that's half-sourced and information like that. When it comes to the member section, I can put it behind that wall and basically just make it a little more in-depth with people who maybe aren't going to be jumping down my throat at every possibility when I say that everything's on the table, this might not happen. Because it's not going to be news report. It's not. So I can't sit in a spoiler warning and say, hey, spoiler, big news, this person's interested, that person's interested, when I simply don't know. So I'm thinking maybe that'll be something for the member section. But we'll see how that goes. There will be more videos coming for the member section over the course of the next few weeks. I know I keep promising this and keep not delivering, and I do apologise for that, but I am creating more members-only content. I'm just taking a little more time to research it as thoroughly as possible. If you are interested in the member side, by the way, you can get the access to the member side for $1. $1. And Venom, if you want more Tom content, there's your answer. $1. There is also a $5 option, which is, of course, $5 per month, and that will give you the same level of access. It's basically you spend however much you want to spend. Okay? So if you want to spend $1 and that's $12 a year, do it. I will be very grateful. If you want to spend $5 and that's $60 a year, do it. I would be very grateful. Membership content will continue to develop and will continue to be posted and shared. Gunter has defeated Madcap Moss clean after a powerbomb and a sexy pin. Gunter retains, stands tall, and the Intercontinental Championship continues to look very, very good. Venom says, how do I ask people on the Discord, Tom? You go into the gaming section, so if you go onto the Discord, on the left you have the list of channels, for example, Chill Zone, Wrestling, Gaming and Football. You go into Gaming, you ask the question, and people who know something about gaming will drop in and help out if they can. Joey says, how much of the roster would TK have to cut if he starts to really struggle financially? I do cover a lot of that in the financial analysis, so I'd check that out if you haven't already. But it depends on who. Cody Rhodes leaving, for example, was a positive for Tony Khan when you consider how much he was costing. However, there's plenty of people who would not be a positive for, and the money for people like Jon Moxley has gone up considerably. He also kind of needs to offload CM Punk, who's making a lot as well. Christoph says, I don't really see AEW going out of business, more likely going down to the level of Impact, with absolutely no star power left. Yeah, that's what they do. I don't see them going out of business, I see them cutting costs, and they've already started that. I was the first to report that AEW were not planning to renew quite a lot of contracts when they came up, and they did let a lot of people go quietly without really making a big deal out of it. Stuart says, we're just thinking it's nuts to think WWE is going to be sold for more than Man United. Never thought wrestling company would sell for more. If Man United was the only football club, then we'd be looking at the same level. Sean says, sorry, Buddy Matthews won the Melbourne City Wrestling World Championship. Thank you for the clarification. Hector says, Gunter is the ultimate professional, is making Madcap Moss seem like a real opponent, not just squashing like you'd expect. Moxie says, I don't think anyone is kicked out of A-Town Down. I believe that to be true, yes. And Sean says, Tom, would you ever do wrestler interviews on the channel? I would, but there is one issue when it comes to that. Well, in fact, there's two issues. Firstly, access. Essentially, the big-name wrestling journalists have made a mission to tell wrestlers not to work with me. And there is evidence of this. For example, I posted something about Al Snow working with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes quote-tweeted it with further clarification of what I was saying, which I thought was very nice. Shortly afterwards, I personally believe that Cody Rhodes received a message from a wrestling journalist because Cody Rhodes would, after an hour or so, delete that tweet. Unfortunately, people are told not to work with me, which is obviously very limiting to my career. I'd like to interview wrestlers. I'm very good at interviewing, but there's also a second issue, which is that nobody really watches interviews. There's a potential for quite a lot of growth on the channel from interviews, because I'd be able to take those interviews and send quotes out to Wrestling Inc., for example, and they would run that, link traffic back to the interview, and it would sort of rebuild my name, as it were, and get traffic sent to the YouTube channel. But nobody watches them. And would they actually do that? Because I think there's plentiful evidence that when it comes to me, people don't like to mention my name. It's very disappointing. But I don't get mentioned as first reported by. It doesn't happen. You guys have seen the reaction when the Bailey news was released by Fightful Select, and several people here said to Sean Ross Sapp, Tom Colohue reported it first. What happened? It wasn't good, was it? Certainly my name was not mentioned. Grinch, welcome. Says, without the Cody Sami bloodline thing, AEW would be miles ahead of WWE in terms of storytelling. Debatable point, but I do see what you're saying. There is very good storytelling in AEW at the moment, though I do think it's dropped off a little bit since Hangman Page lost the championship. I think it's dropped off a little bit as regards to storytelling. I think the return of Adam Cole could certainly be a big help there. But with Cody, Sami and the bloodline, nobody can compete. Nobody can compete. Joey says, Impact is pretty much an indie show now. Yeah. And Justin says, 3 to 5 questions I'd watch. What I'd do, Justin, is I'd do a video of the full interview, and then from that video I'd make a number of shorts, which with the attempt to be essentially viral content. So you might just want to check out the shorts. Rhea Ripley will be on SmackDown next week to step up to Charlotte Flair, and that is when we begin the build in proper to WrestleMania. Joey says, somehow Zero News managed to get an interview with Taya Valkyrie. Yep. Somehow. Bray Wyatt, Firefly Funhouse will return to SmackDown next week. He can't let go, can he? Keeps going back to those characters. Christoph says, such a shame so many media are quoting Zero News and never you. What a joke. Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. But this is why it's so valuable having so many people here backing me up and helping me out. Let's go. Sami Zayn is on the way down to the ring with his old music, as so many people have been asking for. The Canadian crowd are hot for him. He's wearing a brand new shirt celebrating the fact that he's from Montreal. Honorary Hey, I believe that says. He is the returning, the conquering hero. Tomorrow will not go his way, but for today, we dine. And later we think of the good times we had. Sami Zayn just slipped trying to climb to the ropes. He's very, very into this. He is very into this. He knows how far he's come. Joey says, I think Zero News got a lot of attention for reporting false info 90% of the time. Yep, and people still report them. And Christoph says, worlds apart, yes, yes, yes. They're showing so many people who are losing their minds at this. But yeah, this is what I mean. It's so valuable having people who have my corner and have my back and who are going out there and saying, no, but Tom Colohue is worth listening to. So many of you have been instrumental to the growth of this channel. So many of you individually have been instrumental to the growth of this channel. And that's why I spend so much time saying thank you, because you all deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. Yeah, we'll keep going. Eventually, my plan is, once I'm full-time, to start my own wrestling outlet where we report the news. And have a couple of people on staff writing for me. Who'd be paid generously. With funds generated via the website and via YouTube. And make this into a full business, employing people. And potentially trying to put as much money in people's pockets as possible. I want my success to be your success. That's what I want. And I think we can do that. If Sami Zayn can do it, so can we. That dog says Sami has his old theme back. Bailey says the crowd tomorrow will be insane for Sami and Kevin. One of the reasons we're not seeing Kevin Owens right now is so that Sami Zayn can have his moment. He's going to cry. He's going to cry. Sami Zayn is going to cry. You heard it here first, folks. Sami Zayn is going to cry. He's going. He's gone. He's gone. He's actively crying. Sean says they had names for interviews like Cora, Alexa, Becky, Finn, Seth, and Johnny Gargano. I don't understand what you mean there, Sean. I don't understand what you mean. As in, you've interviewed them? I don't know what you're saying. Carmelina says, you are the only one that I get the news from. Thank you, Carmelina. I appreciate that. I very much do. If I have to do it all myself, I will. And that's the fundamental reason why this YouTube channel was started. Just the realization that, you know what, if I have to do it all myself, I will. And I'm not doing it myself. I have all of you. I have all of you. A you deserve it chant there. He's not hiding it. He is outright crying. Huge moment. I'm going to throw some love on Twitter on this one. He just looks so happy. So happy. He's trying to get back in character now. You can see him struggling. He fully deserves this moment. He has worked so hard for so long with so little reward. 2022 is his year. Every year from here on should be the year of Sami Zayn. They won't let him speak. They will not let him speak. Sean, I would need to be provided access by WWE in order to interview those people. And that's difficult when so many people who are given access are telling them not to do so. I have to basically build myself to a level whereby I'll be able to get those interviews off, purely off my own back, which means I have to be of a benefit to the WWE to do so. That's how PR works. So Sean, in many ways, you're helping me get those interviews. Dog says, love this. Sami worked hard to get here. He really did. Fully deserving of this moment. Justin says, quite rightly, this is a superstar, not just a wrestler. I'd love it if this is literally how they end the show. He just keeps getting chanted. He doesn't get a chance to say anything and they just have to go. SBM says the reception for Sami is crazy. I do apologise for stumbling over that one. Venom, they're not bringing the chamber down. Christoph says, I got tears in my eyes, so deserved for Sami. LP Soldier says, huge pop for Sami. I think some fans will turn on Cody if Sami is not part of the title match at Mania. Fuck you, Roman. I do feel that some fans will turn on Cody after Sami picks up his loss, but I don't think it will be enough to change course. Traffic says, from a generic indie wrestler to this man, so deserved. Dominic says, appreciate you answering our questions about paying to ask. Same question, Rock is not coming to WrestleMania. Rock is not coming to WrestleMania, no. The Rock is not coming to WrestleMania. Possibly Joey, I could see what I can do. I could reach out to some people and see what connections I can make. You guys will have to let me know who you want me to interview. We could always do an interview live, after all. And you guys could ask the questions as well. They did mute the audio. It was, after all, a bit rude. Jermaine says, I don't see Sami pinning Roman Reigns, but I could see Sami winning by disqualification or count out. Quite possibly, yes, it's a fair point. Venom, I think it's too late for a full Roman Reigns introduction. But a spear out of nowhere, that would be quite fun. I think Jimmy Uso's more likely, or maybe Solo. But honestly, if that was the plan, I'd be changing the plan. I'd be changing the plan and letting Sami have his moment. Dog says, I know you said he won't, but think of the pop tomorrow night if Sami wins the titles. It would be incredible. It's not going to happen, but it would be incredible. I'm not denying that. Bismore says, come on, Fox, let them have some one F-bomb on broadcast. It wasn't one, mate. This is the most intense I've ever seen Sami. That's a mic dropping off. Joey says, can't wait to hear the crowd tomorrow uncensored. Christoph says, imagine how the crowd is going to be electric tomorrow. That's going to be epic. There's going to be no running. There's going to be no Uso. There's going to be no nothing. No bloodline, and yet that was still a very good SmackDown. The hype has concluded. As Traffic says, Roman's heat is going to be next level tomorrow night. Venom says, do you think they make it a triple threat? No. They will not be making a triple threat. I've said that a lot, mate, and like you've heard me say it several times. Sami Zayn is letting them fade out as he just rocks out in the ring. And we are done. Yes, that dog. This isn't a mic drop. That is a mic slam. Sean, I don't know. I'm not there, so I can't really answer that question. So that is our go-home show. And as go-home shows go, that worked. We saw a decent bit of build for the Women's Elimination Chamber, and they knew where our focus was. Sami Zayn. We saw more attention on that. That was a good thing. Please do remember that we will be live tomorrow for Elimination Chamber. That will be a long one, and we will be there start to finish for the duration. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here today, be sure to subscribe, like if you haven't already, and be sure to keep an eye out because we will be going live right with the pre-show for Elimination Chamber tomorrow. We have reached 2,145 subscribers. Thank you very much to all of you for giving me the time of day, for hitting like, for chatting away, and just for having fun with me. Traffic says, thanks as always, Tom. Chat tomorrow. Stuart Ridley says, see you tomorrow. Venom says, it feels a lot more like, especially with all the hype behind Sami, they might be forced. They're not going to be. It will not be a triple threat. It will be Cody versus Roman. Nothing has changed. Moxie says, what time tomorrow? We will be live with the pre-show. UK time, that'll be midnight. And Christoph says, usually SmackDown before a pay-per-view is not very exciting. This one was very good. Peter says, see you tomorrow, Tom, as well. We've had 1,111 views, which seems a perfect time to wrap up. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.